Because aren't there multiple roads here?
There are. Your dad is being kind of anti-Kansas right now, which isn't very nice.
Poor people who live in Kansas.
Look, I'm a Missouri boy, born and bred. Kansas, we have had a rivalry with since, I don't know, Civil War? Civil War, maybe? I don't know.
That's not a way to bubble it down. That's a way to bubble it up, Dad.
Also, my other thing with Kansas is, I will tell people I'm from Kansas City. Oh, what's Kansas like? I don't know. I live in Missouri.
Exactly.
And then you have to explain to them how most of Kansas City is actually in Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
Although years ago, it was a Jeopardy fact.
People still don't know it.
Yeah, I know. I don't. And not everybody watches Jeopardy. They should, but they don't. So,
I don't see you watching it.
So, do we know, like, what the largest crop circle was, or...
I didn't specifically look for that, but I mean, some have been huge, like miles wide.
Yeah.
So,
but we know some of them have been intentional. Some of them people go out and intentionally make.
right.
So we know that, like field art is an actual thing.
Right.
But that's something separate from the crop circles that we're talking about.
Right.
We're talking about the specific geometrical...
Yes. A geometrical phenomenon that are the crop circles.
Exactly.
This isn't field art. This isn't recreating a bas relief from Greece in a field. This is these are symbols, and most of them seem to be either meaningless or mathematical, and which makes the people who the people who believe they're real wonder if they're a way of attempting to communicate with us. Whereas the movie Signs used crop circles as basically a way for aliens to communicate with each other about an invasion they were preparing. Signs wasn't a great movie, but you have to talk about it if you're discussing crop circles, because that was what that movie was based on. Crop circles, and what if they really are alien, and M. Night Shyamalan, made it all about an alien invasion.
Fair enough.
And a psychic. So, and Joaquin Phoenix, because
all about Joaquin Phoenix.
Swing away, whatever. So
where does that leave us then? So we know that it can be. We know that it can't be.
Well, I think it's a hoaxed thing up to a point, but I also think there's real things, because we know in the cases of places that they hoax, stalks get broken.
Right.
We know that that there aren't issues with its DNA when it's hoaxed, but we have entire crop circles where there is not one stalk broken and the DNA is altered. Now, the best I've heard skeptics come up with that is, well, maybe that's not a phenomenon of the crop circle, but that's a phenomenon of growing crops, is that a few of them come up with altered DNA and they're just getting flattened into these circles. And then they say the unbroken stalks are, well, it's just luck. It's just luck. It's just coincidence. And I tend to think that that's kind of ridiculous. So, you know what? Let's take a moment for our sponsors, and then we'll come back. And
Guess what?
what?
I feel sponsored.
You should.
Thank you, sponsors, for making us feel sponsored.
Thank you very much, sponsor. So, overall, I think the changes in the DNA and the non-broken stock suggest something is happening, and not just a couple of drunken hillbillies with nothing to do on a Saturday night. You know, in August of 2017 in Kansas, fields of corn, sorghum, and wheat were discovered to have strange circles pushed into them. Most of these circles were composed of unbroken crops with a higher than usual radiation level, and many of which had unusual DNA. Now, I don't know if that's the one I went to or not, because I barely remember going to it. It was near Lexington, Kansas at the time. So, but I guess if we're going to put this in a final thought format, I'm going to say that I kind of buy crop circles as a thing. And now I don't even have the first clue of what they are or what kind of attempt they are. And I will also tell the listeners that if they enjoyed this and would like to go on a deeper dive, our friends at Astonishing Legends did a 2 or 3 part series on crop circles.
Absolutely.
And they always have the best information. So
yes, they do so well.
Yeah. But for my part in this, I kind of believe it. I kind of believe crop circles are, maybe they're not an attempt to talk to us. Maybe they're another race's idea of art. And maybe they're sharing their culture with us in the hopes that down the line we'll be ready to meet them.
Krysta, what do you think?
Huh?
Crop circle.
Crop circles. I mean, I don't see why I couldn't.
So you believe?
Yes, I
Okay.
do. That was awkward. Why are you looking at me like that?
Because your tone is a little off to me. Like,
You were extremely quiet, and then you seemed.
yeah, you just seemed like you were agreeing just to agree. And I don't
No.
ever want you to agree just to agree. I always
No.
want to know what Krysta thinks.
No, I do believe that they are real. I don't see why they couldn't be real. I mean, it's not a big deal. It's a circle in the ground.
And your thoughts, hon? Because you look skeptical.
You know, I think that they're, for the most part, I think that they're man-made. I really do. I mean, I can see where that we would look at it and say, okay, this is definitely possibly made by something else because of the placement and how it looks from above and all of these things. But at the same time, I mean, we are capable on this planet of making amazing, beautiful things, and I think sometimes people just want to put something bigger than themselves out there and make something unique and I think that that's what it is. I don't think that this is something.
So what? They staple radioactive isotopes to the bottom of the boards?
Sure.
I mean, how does the DNA change happen? How does the higher than normal radiation levels come from?
I think that, I don't know. I just wonder. It just seems convenience. It would. Why would you go to so much trouble to not be visible, and then put something out there that's humongously visible? I mean, if they were going to throw something like this out there in the middle of nowhere, that's this huge sign. Hey, here we are. Here we are. Why not just go to the middle of Times Square and lower the ship right there? I mean, seriously.
It could be accidents. Like, they could spot their ship somewhere and then leave and not notice the circle.
I see that. My thought is, assuming, my thought is that it's to get it in the culture. Because years ago, there was a report done, and I want to say it's been mostly disclassified or published or whatever, but basically, it was a report the government had done on what would likely happen if aliens arrived on Earth. Friendly, unfriendly, what would happen? And their suggestion was that whenever a more advanced culture visits a less advanced culture, it never goes well for the less advanced culture. And there is proof to that.
Well, yeah.
I mean, take a look at the Taínos. Take a look at the Native Americans.
Yeah.
Although my argument would be, I don't know how much more advanced the settlers were than they were, but whatever. And so maybe these things that visit us, and I'm going to say they visit us from another plane of reality. I don't even think they visit us from another planet, but another plane of reality. Maybe they understand us, and maybe they understand us just enough to know that showing up in Times Square would put a majority of the world into panic. Maybe only 60%, but into panic. And so maybe if they put out these artistic designs and these images, and they slowly impact the culture, that as time goes on, we'll be prepared for them to show up. And there will be less screaming and pointing and, oh my God, the aliens are here and we're all going to die.
Mm-hmm. Who knows you're going to die? What if they need your help for something?
I'm just saying, that's basically the point of that report, Krysta, is that if the aliens show up, there's going to be a lot of screaming and crying.
Like
and
Tommy Lee Jones said that in Men in Black that humans are
dumb, panicky, stupid animals, and you know it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that is true. Also, religion would lose a lot of, because a lot of people would go, well, the Bible doesn't talk about aliens, so religion must not be true. And that's sort of my take on it, is aliens are cool. So we stand on this episode with 2-1, Laura being the confirmed skeptic, and I'm okay with that. We don't all have to believe the same things, and I love you very much, babe.
I love you too, sweetheart.
So you stand firm.
And people should be able to stand on whatever they feel is right until they're proved otherwise, or even then they still have the right to believe what they want to believe within reason.
Exactly, as long as it doesn't hurt anybody else.
Exactly.
So, well, that brings us to the end of the show. First and foremost, I want to tell the fans, thanks for listening.
Thanks for being fans. We appreciate you.
We appreciate you guys so much.
I give you a hand heart.
Krysta's making a hand heart. Aw, that's so cool. Thanks to Bill Barrett, who does our theme music.
Thanks to my stupid dog who won't stay out of my lap tonight. He wants to be the center of attention.